Trends, moments, and culture today are born on reels. From the music stuck in our head, the food on our plate, to the trips on our bucket list. Reels shape our choices in ways bigger than we realize. On this episode of The Quick Call, I'm joined by Saugato Bhowmik, Director Auto CPG and D2C at Meta India, and we dive into how Reels is changing culture and commerce and what that means for marketers today. Welcome to The Quick Call with Hitesh Saugato. I'll jump right into the conversation. Short form video has overtaken every other format in terms of daily viewing. According to you, what explains this sharp shift and what does it mean for marketers?
Look, I think the first part of this is short form video is, and in this case, what has been proven is that Reels is powering this explosive growth of short form video in India, and it stands as the largest short form video platform of choice for daily consumption amongst Indians. Now, what is driving this? And I'm going to talk about Reels because that is the main representative short form video in the country. And just to be clear, it's being driven both on Instagram and Facebook. I think there are few aspects. One is the macro aspect. Nearly 800 million plus Indians now are connected to the internet through their smartphones. That has democratized hugely and with increasingly affordable smartphones. Even more is the most affordable data connections of Indians, most uh, affordable data pricing in the world. The two combined lead to a habit where everybody is on consuming most of their content on their mobile all day long. It's with you, it's personal. You're not really sitting in front of what used to be the primary content choice many years ago, which is your TV screen or your large screen, right? It's also a young economy. So a large population of students, college goers, young jobbers, large working population. So people are on the move. So their primary device for content consumption, amongst many other use cases, is their mobile phone. Within that mobile phone, the role of Facebook and Meta is simply put the largest social media platforms by far in the country. What's driving that is also online short form video, which is Reels. So Reels has driven that engagement to another stratospheric level. Now you might ask, what is driving Reels? It's many things. One is Indians love watching content, but now that content consumption with this kind of demographics and macros is a lot more short. I am going in commuting. I'm scrolling through Reels. I'm headed into a study session or a classroom. I'm watching Reels. I am in a meeting. Between meetings, I'm watching Reels. I'm heading back. I'm watching Reels. Very easy, very accessible. Then comes the role of the AI, and that is the superpower, frankly, for all of Meta, where Meta's AI has transformed this the two platforms of Facebook and Instagram into a video first platform. Like 50% of all content and time spent is now on video surfaces of Meta. I mean, world over, we have 4.5 billion plus daily shares of um, of reels. Like that's 4.5 billion times reels are shared daily. Very large proportion of that's happening in India. India being the largest user country, right? So phenomenal stats. We already knew that India is the home to the largest production of reels daily or weekly. It's also home to the largest number of creators in the planet. When you put all this together, you have a content creation ecosystem that is just purely exploding. Cheap handphones, cheaper data. Indians love watching content. Massive number of reels being created every day. Massive number of creators posting content every day. Finally comes the role of the AI, which is matching that content to the audiences that love that content. And within reels, it's the creation tools. Easiest. Like it's so easy that even someone like me is now totally my primary habit is to make reels when I want to share something fun and interesting about my life, right? And that's all happened in the last few years. If someone like me can do that, just imagine what a young country with access to data and handphones um, they would be doing, right? So all these pieces come together in a flywheel that feeds off each other, right? And that's what's powered reels. That's how reels has powered short form video to become the primary form of online or primary content consumption choice in the country.
Absolutely. I feel with the democratization of internet, democratization of content creation has happened, and Reels was at the forefront of it. Over the last few years, the kind of growth the surface has seen across Facebook and Instagram is immense. In my understanding, Reels is no more a choice, it's become an essential. On that note, congratulations to you and the teams at Meta on Reels turning 5. I believe it's an amazing feat. It's so great to see the volume of content Reels as a surface sees on a day to day basis and the kind of value it adds to a consumer's life. I think there are so many interesting use cases. Like my mom follows Reels um, for new recipes that she wants to cook for me because of late I've moved to a very healthy choice and she won't find those healthy recipes otherwise, but she would look for protein based recipes and she has like a bunch of creators she follows. She keeps sending those reels to us as well. And like recently my doctor told me that I should be off protein also for some time, so now she's unlearning that and she's now finding recipes which are off protein but still healthy. So I do understand the kind of impact reels has had on a consumer's life. And I think even from a brand perspective, like gone are the days when reels were also just about views or uh, base engagement that they get. It's more about getting discovered, it's more about getting the attention of consumers. So my question to you is, how can marketers of today ensure that this discovery on reels actually translates to business outcomes for them, and how reels can become like a growth lever in their marketing mix?
Lovely. And Hitesh, thank you for how you explained it. It's exactly how we also see it playing out. The content choices on Reels and Meta platforms are constantly expanding because more and more users are coming, more and more users are creating content. It just feeds the flywheel of many more interests getting built on Reels, interests that you would have never seen on other platforms, right? Or smaller platforms. And you spoke about yourself. I was smiling to myself when you said that because I'm very much in this very
Yeah.
similar boat. Coming back to your
Yeah.
question on brands, the first thing for brands is to understand the equation very simply. First, leverage the scale. The scale is now unprecedented. Leverage that scale and engagement by reaching wider audiences here, allowing the system, or your engine to find audiences whom you want for your brand. You will find all of them here. Without getting into the absolute numbers of it, in every audience that matters, or every category, product category that matters, the volume of audiences here is larger than most other platforms. So use this for the scale to build awareness, but use it more to build meaningfulness and equity, differentiation and meaningfulness. Basically, build that through the right creative language on reels. The right creative language will get the right attention because the creative language has shifted, Hitesh. The story arc is completely transformed. When brands used to make or still make long form, interruptive TV ads or ads that will go on to such similar TV like platforms, it's a certain story arc where you have the leverage or the luxury of 20 to 30 seconds, right? But you don't have that luxury on a um, uh, short form attention platform like Reels, where you're going to get 6 seconds to 10 seconds maximum. Six at the normal, mostly 5 to 6. If you're really good creatively, you'll be watched for up, like mostly most people will watch till the 10-second mark. When you realize that truth, you will need to change your entire creative workflow, briefing, creation, language, How do you use a whole altogether different social language? How are you integrating the product story right up front? How are you creating hooks right up front? How are you visually dynamic? You know, how you culturally and semiotically lot more up there, right? Um, those are the things that will need to change for you to leverage that much higher attention. The trick here is to understand that you might person sitting watching reels might be watching the reel for much lower seconds than they're watching a TV ad or or any other competing OTT platform ad. But every second they watch that reel is much higher attention and therefore much higher brand outcome, much higher message recall, much higher awareness. But to get to that, you need to change your creative language. I think these are the two things that I would really need, urge brands to work with us on, which is leverage it for scale, leverage it for attention with the right creative, and then measure for the outcomes. Third part
Yeah.
of this is the marketing fraternity has to start rapidly moving away from input metrics of viewability, view through rates, um, cost per views, which are very TV like metrics. Okay, where you tend to make the mistake of believing that the length of a view is equal to the effectiveness of that view. The effectiveness of a view is driven by its creative, not by its length. Even if you get the right effective creative for 3 to 6 seconds, you're going to have much better returns if you reach the right audiences, which you will with our AI. And then you measure for that outcome. You don't measure for the input. If you want brand awareness lift, you measure for that. If you want message association lift, you measure for that. If you want a website conversion, you measure for that. And that's by the way, just to end that answer, this is the truth of how digital first brands are leveraging us much more than, let's say, some of the traditional businesses are, because they get this. They get the power of this. They're leveraging it. They are disrupting pretty much every consumer category. The first few consumer categories are already heavily disrupted: beauty, personal care, health, wellness, fashion. Now, even larger, more traditional categories will increasingly start feeling the power of this disruption as more and more players start leveraging platforms such as ours. It's already happening.
I'd like to double click on the measurement aspect that you covered. I understand how TV like metrics need to make way for digital native metrics such as attention and outcomes. From your vantage point, what unique value is Reels delivering that sets it apart from other formats? That one thing that could move a marketer from where they are to Reels as a medium.
I think it's the concept of long continuous attention has to give way to aggregated cumulative attention. Understanding that reels is accumulating attention in small parts, but when you add up those parts, it's massive. It's massive at a scale which is unprecedented and much larger than every other platform. When you realize that, that's what makes reels so unique. The creative language on reels also sets it apart. So one is the quantum of that attention, the scale of that attention. The other is the quality of that attention, because the creative language is different. The way creators have flourished, now the way creators have democratized in India. India is home to the largest creator community in the world. They are powering this creative language shift. So when you put these two things together, that's what brands should see as a unique opportunity, that if they can leverage us for the right scale, leverage reels for the right scale, and leverage build the right creative storytelling, accumulate that attention across short durations, but aggregate it relentlessly across a very high set of reels, very high, strong frequency, strong reach, stitch different creatives to one whole larger story. When you do all that, is when you start to see massive shifts in the outcomes. And we have endless case studies of FMCG brands, auto brands, e-com brands, retail brands, financial services brands, health brands, technology brands, who are all seeing, dramatic shifts in performance of either brand or sales or commerce or app installs, whatever be the outcome, when they start understanding this equation of scale, attention is equal to outcomes. And that's what makes it so unique, because both parts of this equation has become so high. I have short duration attention, but I'm very high quality attention. And if you're able to aggregate it across all the times I'm giving you the attention, then it's gold for the brand.
I love how you put this into an equation: scale plus attention equals outcomes. And I think might sound simplistic, but if you dive deep into it, it's all like that captures almost everything that a marketer would eventually want. Uh, Coming back to the point on how creators are at the center of everything that is happening at Reels, they are like the heart of Reels. And I've seen that over the last 3 4 years, actually, like ever since Reels has been launched, I've seen that it's become like even the home for trends to emerge, a home for
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of subcultures which are being made. And so
Oh
much so that not just about the audio piece, but I think a lot of what we do on a day-to-day basis is somewhere influenced by the culture on Reels that happens. So how do you think, and I think creators have cracked it quite well, even the creative language that you were saying, a lot of brands now think like creators and they try to create content which is with a
yeah,
similar mindset. But
yeah.
other than those top probably 2% or 5% of brands, what is it that brands should be doing when it comes to creators on like working with creators, and where is it that you think they're getting it wrong as well?
Look, brands are, firstly, let me tell you, have crossed the bridge of understanding their creators is a superpower now in their brand building model, right? So that bridge has been crossed. However, I think many brands are still on the journey where this is still a new model for them to master. Now, as a result, what we urge a lot of brands to do is to see this as another core media vehicle. Finally, creators are going to tell your message, but in their own authentic, personal, relatable, reels friendly, social first manner. That's the first reason you are partnering with them, right? So, one is you should have your brand language, your brand assets, and you should equally build your creator assets, because both will have different roles to play. Your brand will tell the brand story in its brand language, and that's also important. But the creators will tell the story in a relatable, authentic, very high quality, organic manner. But to do this, a lot of brands are in the ecosystem now ending up working with very similar kind of creators, very much at the top and the large end. Nothing wrong with that, but what's happening is there's a lot of accumulation in one genre of creators. We know creators are a huge community and across every single genre, whether it's travel, fitness, wellness, spirituality, financial literacy, to the mainstream beauty, personal care, um, health, technology, um, fashion, retail, shopping, all of that. You have every kind of genre of creators. You have all scales. What we want them urge brands to do is firstly see this as another consistent reach medium. So don't just work with a few, work with a large set of creators, work with multiple adjacent genres of creators. If you're looking for a working for a fitness creator, or a sunscreen creator, it need not be a beauty creator. It could be a fitness creator who's out there in the sun every day. It could be a comedy creator. One of our beauty brands just did that brilliantly. Okay, so work with multiple genres. Give them their freedom and their authenticity to write the script, as long as your brand story is coming through in their way, in every individual creator's way. Then use that content to target your audience. It's not necessary that the creator's audience totally overlaps with your brand audience. There could be a very small or medium sized intersection set, but it's not. Also, organically, you will reach only very small, not so significant numbers if you do only organic. You really need to use this like you do planning on every single brand asset of yours to reach your audience. What's the point of spending so much time, effort, resources on building creator content if only a very small single digit percentage of your audience saw that creative? Then so it's still a core media. So those are the things that we want brands to do. Work with a wide genre, work consistently, don't just work one off, build a
Yeah.
program, let them have their say. Their authenticity is why you're working with them. And finally, see this as a core media vehicle where what you spend building the creator content should be just as much as is required versus how what you spend on actually ensuring the content reaches your audience should be in line with your other media planning principles. Those are the things we really work closely with brands on. We're urging them to not make certain errors that is happening. But still early days in this
Yeah.
industry, so lots of brands are learning. Lots of brands have already learned. Look, India is a fast, rapidly growing commerce country. So there are brands at the absolute cutting edge of what kind of creators, how to find them, discover them, curate them, what language, what kind of trends should we work with them on, how can we create topical, trend worthy creative, how can we ensure it reaches the right audience. There are brands at that cutting edge, and then there are brands who are learning the coming up the curve. We are working along with brands with everybody on the spectrum.
Yeah, and I think the kind of ringside view that you would have about this is much more nuanced than anyone else. Like, not just the creator or the brand, but like you can see everything on one single view. And I get it. I mean, most of the brands, I'm not saying all of the brands, but a good chunk of brands out there still treat creators as a distribution medium, creators as like human billboards. And that has to change. And that has to change across all brands who might be spending on the creator side of things. And even the point that you need to work with multiple creators, and you need to not drop the ball with just a collaboration with the creator, but use the content that you've made with the creator with some ad backing, so that like your core audience or the audience that you intend to reach out to is also aware of that piece of content that you've created. And I feel
Yeah.
over time that actually helps. I was speaking to a bunch of creators and we keep interacting with them, so I've seen that they also have good case studies from brands where their cost of acquisitions have gone down if they've used a creator led asset versus a branded asset that they might have used. And similar inputs come from new age marketers. They don't leverage creators only for distribution, but they also use creator assets for ads. I get the point that Reels have become one of the most dominant formats at this point. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not a choice, it's essential for brands in today's day and age. But as Reels moves from this 5 year landmark to, say, another 5 years, what are some of the myths about Reels that brands need to let go?
I think the main heart of the myth is uh, twofold. I cannot tell the story in that 6 seconds. It's too short a duration to tell a compelling brand story and convert that into consideration for my brand. I think that's myth one. Uh, Myth two is, effectively I don't have. If I work with creators, and that's only the largest of creators, then it's um, and it's enough. And if I work with some of the most high profile creators, that's enough to create enough buzz and interest and spike my search trends on the brand, I think. And the third myth is, this is about engagement. It's not about reach. It's about likes, comments, shares. Let me address each of those uh, three myths. Myth one is, I can't tell the story because I don't have their attention long enough. I already spoke about how you have the most high quality attention in those 6 seconds. If you change your creative language and measure for outcomes, you'll see dramatically different outcomes. and if you're able to reach the right audience at scale, which you can on our platform. Myth one. Myth two is if I work with only the top creators. Please don't work with the top creators. Work only, not just with the top creators, work with the entire mid, torso, section, tail, depending on your brand's requirement. Sometimes it's about a launch and you want to create impact. Let's work with the large, high volume, high decibel, high reach creators. Then you want to create sustenance, you want to create more interest, you want to create a community, you want to build fandom. You need to have different kinds of creators. You need to build in a certain audience, you need to have different creators. You need to build a new genre, you need to have different creators. You need to build on a different language, you need to have different creators. I think those myths, that's myth two. That it's a proper, deep media science that has to be applied to the world of creators as well. And third is the one that I spoke about is the reach aspect of it, which is that it's not just about engagement. Engagement is not necessarily moving your brand outcomes. Engagement is great, but engagement happen. People reach has been proven scientifically. Effective reach, high quality attention with the right reach is proven to deliver outcomes. Engagement and likes and metrics like that will completely are misleading in terms of brand outcomes. They don't have a direct correlation to brand outcomes. Having a certain thousand number of likes is not going to move your brand. Having the right audience, whatever is your right audience, seeing your content, even if they don't end up liking or sharing it, is more than enough. If they like or share it, then that's an added bonus. That means your content is broken out completely. But that happens very rarely. But from a marketing science background, you need to ensure the right people see your content. So I think those are the three things that I will classify as myths that need to be debunked as far as reels are concerned. And it's increasingly more and more we see it is getting debunked. It's
Understood.
a
And I think
journey, like anything else, Hitesh. It's a journey.
true, true. And I feel like I resonate with what you said about engagement. I feel like our behavior as a consumer, there are times that we might be scrolling through reels and there is enough and more attention we are paying to the content in it. But that is not, it's not necessary that I like drop in my like on that reel or I
You just keep
share it
scrolling.
with,
Yeah,
yeah.
you keep watching and scrolling.
Yeah, or I could just save it for my future reference, but it's not necessary that I like it, I share it, or I comment on it. And it's time for a quick wrap. Shogato, one real trend brands should stop chasing.
So, look, again, there are so many millions of brands across so many hundreds and thousands of product categories. Each product category has to choose which kind of trends are relevant to it. To give you an example, a sneaker brand or a fashion brand might might latch on to a or might find it relevant to um, you know work on a skincare routine or a beauty get ready with me or a fashion trend or a meme that's happening at that time, right? Whereas a health and wellness brand might not find that useful, right? So there is no straight answer to what you just asked. What I do feel strongly about is brands need to be agile enough to reach out to leverage topical trends happening at that moment, because this is the speed of the internet.
Right. But they should
We
think
need to
before jumping on any trend.
yes,
Yeah.
everybody trying to jump on a trend becomes inauthentic. uh, then there are memes about your brand which are not always very preferable. So brands have to understand what role they can bring. Like I see some fantastic social brands who use humor brilliantly, who
True.
write the best memes, and it really builds the brand love and fandom for them, right? So they have identified humor as that topic, and that's their tonality. But not every brand needs to use humor. So each brand should choose the areas it wants to play in, build a creative structure that can then grab those trends and go at it at the speed of the internet. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. I mean, if you're going to sit here and approve creatives 10 days later, that trend is gone.
True. True. So you need to think on your feet and actually think before you jump on any trend.
Absolutely.
Next one, one feature on Reels you think marketers underuse.
I think it's creative power. It's creative power to grab attention. I think marketers need. I mean, like I already spoke about this earlier. Is
Mhm.
how do you embody the social first creative principles, visual dynamism, people at the center, integration of the product and the hook right up front, in a very very topical manner. I think those are creative principles which it's not a feature, but it's a skill that needs to significantly increase, and I see it increasing. A long way to go there.
Understood. One common mistake you see brands making on Reels.
Not leveraging its scale and reach enough.
And lastly, in one word, the future of Reels is.
Spectacular.
Thank you so much, Shogato, for jumping on this quick call with me. I really enjoyed this chat, and I hope our audience finds it as insightful as I did.
Thank you, Hitesh. Lovely speaking with you.
If I had to summarize this quick call in a line, scale plus attention equals outcomes. And that's the equation marketers need to design for in today's day and age. Thank you for jumping on this quick call with Hitesh. I'll see you in the next episode.